how to start this. You know, I've only told maybe 3 people in my life this story. And, it's gotten to the point where I think I can tell it without slipping back, without breaking as I'd say the words. What a lot of you might not know about me is that I do not have a relationship anymore with my mother. And the crux of that, the beginning of all that started when I was in 7th grade. And really what it was for me was hell. Because I spent just about all of my elementary school years being homeschooled. Had no friends, no social skills. My mom's version of teaching was just do it. Just look at the page and do it. And eventually it was, I don't care anymore. We're just gonna sit and watch Oprah and Dr. Phil and let us play the SpongeBob video game that came out on GameCube all those years ago. Which feels really weird saying. Well, one day, my mother and father had a conversation that was, of course, private. And we ended up in public school the next year, which for me was 7th grade, which is probably the worst year you could ever throw someone into public school that's ever never been into public school. Because there's a bunch of stuff changing with your body, there's a bunch of stuff changing with your mind, and there should be a bunch of stuff changing in how you interact with people, but, I'm sitting here 5-6 years behind. Anyway. Through 7th grade, I had a binder, like a big binder, with a bunch of paper in it. And because I had no friends, and because I was constantly picked on for take your pick, new kid, fat, what was another one? Stupid, because I didn't know anything. Because I was also raised in a very Christian household. So any kind of secular music, any kind of outside knowledge was forbidden to me. Harry Potter was the devil. Anyway, so what I ended up doing was retreating into the school's library every day at lunch. And I would just write. And I was writing some kind of fantastical fantasy story. And I was like 12 or 13 at the time. So, of course, it's filled with all of my, childhood imagination of what, these new feelings I'm going through, these new attractions I'm going through, blah, 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 blah. But what it really was all of my heart and soul going into one book. Because I was also, at that point in time, I was also developing a want to draw, to put pictures on a page. And I was getting fairly good at it. I had a big color pencil set, and, markers and whatnot. And, well, at the end of that year, towards the end, my My mom found that book. It was pretty thick at that point. Been writing in it for a year, drawing in it for a year. She found it. And you would have thought she had found like drugs in my backpack. The way that she blew up and lost her cool, and just went insane. My father, I think some part of him, even if it wasn't conscious, I think some part of him knew at that moment he needed to get me out of the house, away from her. And so he took me for a walk around the neighborhood. And during that walk, I basically exploded and just started telling my dad everything that had been going on. And from what I remember, I don't believe he said a single thing. He actually just walked with me and listened, which I will always, always love and respect that man for. When I got home, I asked where my book was. My mom had burnt it. She'd thrown it in the trash fire thing that we had out back. And she'd burnt it. It was shortly after that, because we were still in school. Shortly after that, maybe a few weeks, that if one of the kids who was at that bus stop with me hadn't have started coming down the hill and seen me and going, "Hey, Zach," that I would have stepped out onto the highway in front of an oncoming semi. I was this close to you not seeing me right now. You know, the first time I told that story to one of my friends, it was almost like, it was the first time I ever realized, oh, that's not normal. That's not a normal childhood experience. Because the sheer sort of almost heartbreak and sadness that was on their face for me in that moment said everything I needed to know. You know, I say these things to you, my viewers, because the point of my channel is not just a news channel. The point of my channel is not just keeping you appraised of current events. If you want that, you can go watch Philip DeFranco, go watch Vosh, go watch Hassan, or any other of the numerous political talking heads on YouTube and Twitch. No, I share this with you because Let's Talk About Us is a conversation. It is a ongoing thing between you and I. If you make a comment on my video, I will do my damnedest to make sure I respond to it, to make sure I address you. Because Let's Talk About Us is about that. It's about conversation. And news, and news. The life around us, the world around us. But if I want this video to be postable on TikTok, I have to stop talking. So This has been Let's Talk About Us. Or maybe today I should call it Let's Talk About Me. You all have a good day. And if you want, share your experiences, your memories, share your life with strangers. Because you can. Because it's important to talk. And it's important to talk without withholding. Yeah. I think that'll be good for today. See ya.